Good evening, everyone. 12 October 2020. I'm going to start out with episode 21 of The Drums of Doom, part 2 of the Duaredheim staff Saga, by me, starting the reading on page 256 with the title, Chapter Grulthank. Okay, here we go. Grulthank. Bring silent scream to me, Agoric raged. Yes, my king, said his captain of the guard, and within minutes the black-hearted captain stood before his king, chained and shackled, with guards numbering 30. You have failed utterly, Agoric said. You have forsaken the debt of blood, and brought shame upon the Darg, you who of all my subjects I had deemed the least likely to betray me. I offer you this final chance to explain yourself. We delivered the surfacers as planned, Silent Scream said. Then fell sorcerer and Black Bible led a coup against me. It was mutiny. Mutiny? I shall have their corpses resurrected, so that they can be tortured for their treachery. They insult the debt of honor. They insult the law. But what more do you have to say for yourself? If not for the meddlesome witch, the line of Eklon would be dead, and Agoric would have riches. Let me lead your army against Dracon Mjolfalor. We will crush the orcs and end Lucheron forever. It was mutiny, so my verdict is mercy. Silent Scream, for your betrayal against your king and against the law, you shall be tortured, you shall be maimed, and you shall be mutilated unto death. Then I curse you and these halls. Cut out his tongue, and it was done. You will curse no longer, for it is Silent Scream who is cursed. Then and there in the high meeting hall of Agoric, Silent Scream was tortured, he was maimed, and he was mutilated unto death. Later, Agoric's high priest resurrected him, in what returned was even viler, more wretched, and more sinister than ever before. An evil powerful enough to stand next to the son of Aklon and nearly achieve victory was far too valuable to waste, too full of the favor of Abathorius. One day, such a one as he might lead the Darg, but for now it was Agoric who sat in the high seat. Torture, betrayal, mutilation, and mutiny. That's what Darg dreams are made of. The Hall of Kings. The slender stair upon which they descended was a wonder of natural magic. The great lava flows below them had, in ages past, filled the chamber that now traveled through. Eons later, its fires diminished. It now flowed far below them. During its descent, it left behind the slender ridge of stone upon which the Darg had carved their stairs. Any travelers stumbling to the left or right would meet their end in a fall of grim finality. If Kalor had possessed a spell powerful enough to spirit them all away, then he would have done so. But as it was, he and Dao only had time to learn a few simple incantations. Among the magic that they studied were spells that could catch a falling object, slowing its descent in such a manner that it would land unscathed, and an even stronger spell that could levitate an object back to its origin and beyond. Modrol's book held so much wonder, but its hidden power required time and diligent study to learn. Time, which had once seemed so trivial, was now ever precious and always in short supply. Each time that they stopped to rest, they studied. Pouring their energies into the difficult task, they hoped that they would be better prepared when next danger threatened them. They traveled for hours and countless miles, the heat and geysers of steam unending. Perhaps this is no bridge at all, Dartin said, but the body of Jormungand, the world serpent. I hope that he stays asleep, Karina answered. Above them, the cavern walls rose up like endless cliffs, separated, as if they were once part of the whole earth, but rent somehow by the blade of an unspeakable god. The steam flowed around them like clouds. But your Jomungand seems to snore a lot. Such were the wonders of nature around them, that they began to leave the past behind them, so as to more fully witness the master works of the Creator. It was a glory of nature that even Kerr, accustomed as he was to under-earth, found breathtaking. Everything was so much greater than they, and yet so much a part of what made them revel in life itself. I pity them, Karina said. Such evil will never experience all of this beauty. If you ever meet them again, Kerr said, show them no mercy. They are an abomination. Despite the awe-inspiring magnitude of the underworld around them, their slender road soon grew more arduous and didn't come to an end until they had traveled for an entire day. The precipitous bridge had begun to rise upwards somewhere about midday. The mighty chimney, which had seemed endless, slowly closed in upon them until what they traveled on was no more than a huge tunnel. We have climbed at least 1,000 feet. Notice the surface of the stone. The granite and volcanic rock are being replaced with shale and slate. Many of these rocks were brought here by masons to shore up the walls. Water once flowed through here. It's a good sign. Unless it floods while we're in here, Leander said. The tunnel soon became a twisting maze of branching shafts, some rising and falling, still others intersecting and then falling southward or rising to the north. When the main path wasn't obvious, they called upon the diamond gem to guide them, and its insistent pull seemed irrefutable. The gem seems to choose the safest path, Kerr said in amazement. It is as if it has come this way before. It's just a magical locator, Kalor assured him, designed to find the missing pieces of the staff. I think that it has a mind of its own, Kerr said. Sometimes it leads us southwest or north to follow the safest route. It follows the same paths that I would choose if I was trying to get us out of here. Can you hear it? Karina asked. Hear what? The silence. It feels like a living thing. Sometimes it sounds like Tempest's breathing, and at other times all that I can hear are my own heartbeats. We are a long way from Father Sun, Leander said, and Mother Wind. The creak of our boots, the chiming of our armor, and the beating of our own hearts are probably the only sounds that these halls have heard in ages. And so close to dark lands, Tarek said, there are probably few living things that would brave living here. And if they are brave enough, we don't want to meet them. Just try and stay ready, Kerr said. Don't let the quiet put you to sleep. In this manner, they traveled on, each one of them finding their own way to deal with their fears. Tarek found shelter by recalling the forested trails of his homeland, paths full of sunshine and wildlife. Karina and Dao gained strength from each other, and together they believed that they were the equal of any encounter. Kalor, so fascinated with magic, puzzled endlessly over the complicated theories of the dragon's spell formulae. He believed that he now knew how to adapt the rest of Modrul's spell formulae for their use. Carmen focused on their mission, trying to piece together all the things that were happening to them. Dartin and Leander both thought of the rocky shores of Sundsvall, its harbors filled with white gossamer sails, its taverns filled with fine ale and bold women. Kerr needed no such thoughts to comfort him, for here, beneath billions of tons of pressing stone and earth, he could not have felt more at home. In fact, the knowledge of his forefathers was returning to him from some deeply hidden memory, and the stone around him was coming to life in ways that only a dwarf could know. He was their strength in these deepened wilds, and each of them clung to him in some manner of earnestness, as if somehow his very aura could shield them from harm. Another day's march, and their journey again began to ascend, and in places signs of an ancient civilization were evident. At intervals, strange symbols were carved into the walls of the tunnel. But passing water and time itself had eroded them into ghostly, unreadable images, mere shadows of their former glory. They rested, now without food or water, and later continued along the secret way for yet another day. It was then that a great quantity of luck befell them. The natural tunnels began to give way to mined passages, and then to the remnants of an abandoned city. The diamond's pull led them down a long tunnel, like an avenue that finally ended before a towering doorway fit for a titan. The door itself had long since crumbled into dust. Its once mighty hinges were now rusted away and gone, leaving only empty holes in the stone where they had once been fastened. The room beyond was vaulted, with a ceiling of some 50 feet in height, a width of 50, and a length of 100 feet or more. Another door, similar in stature to the first, stared at them from the room's opposite end. The room was empty except for ages of dust, and Kerr discovered a tall but narrow stair descending from the room in which they stood. Like a blessing from the gods, a small spring of water trickled from a crack in the rock at the top of the stairs. After a quick test, he discovered that it was fit enough to drink. "Let's camp here," Kerr said, "and get some sleep." They drank what they could on empty stomachs, filled their water skins, and sank exhausted to the floor. Kerr told them tales of his ancestors, stories of the adventures and exploits of heroes long since passed from the world. They assigned guard shifts, and Kerr's voice continued throughout them all. It seemed to them then that he was becoming something more than himself, as if his voice was filled with the knowledge of 1,000 dwarves, as if he spoke with the song and soul of Under-Earth. Only when they had all slept did he then sleep himself. When he awoke, they were ready. Moradeus has blessed us with safety these few days. Now if only he'll bless us with some food, Grulthank said. I have prayed to Odin, but he still sleeps, and the runes sleep with him. Is not fate the way of the Northmen? Aye, said Grulthank. The events of our lives are skeins woven by the fates. We cannot escape our destinies. Then your death and Odin's sleep were also woven in time, Dow said. Perhaps this is a test to see if you are worthy. Let us hope that I pass. I think that we are all being tested, Tarek said, but by someone, not some god. Either way, Karina said. I hope that the fates have woven in some food. I am starving. The quicker that we move out, Carmen said, the sooner that we will eat. Having slept beside their packs, they were ready to move out in short order. Descending the stairs, they began their exploration of the ancient ruins anew, waiting and hoping that its mysteries would soon reveal themselves. The 3rd Battalion. In the arena of Drakon Mjolfalor, the 3rd Red Orcan Battalion was training with deafening intensity. War masters assisted their squad leaders in training the elite soldiers under their command, while Dark Alfar instructors looked on and assisted when necessary. The Orcs were excellent troops, self-motivated, and passionate in the pursuit of the art of war. Their commander and his second were perched above them all, sitting in the shadows of the leader's booth. They are nearly ready, Vlad, Derek said with a confident smile. They are too few to face Lord Cherek's Firmish knights. There will soon be many more, Derek said. The Numurines are doing a fine job of training the 1st and 2nd Battalions. The giants of the mountain are also eager to join in the war. Shiran and Monica do seem to be doing a fine job with these orcs. Even Ariana has begun to lend a hand. The troops are learning quickly from them, perhaps even faster than orcs are supposed to. Ariana is a ruthless taskmaster, Vlad said. The slow ones felt the sting of her whip, I am sure. They are valuable allies. Their size and strength, combined with our battle tactics, will make them elite fighters. And the tension between the orc tribes and the settlements of Safe Haven makes them our natural choice. We must ready our defenses as well, Vlad said. The fortress is now threatened by both the Darg and the Sentians. With our luck, they will attack us when we are weakest and most divided. With any luck, indeed. What a challenge that would be, but enough dreaming. I know you well enough to know your small talk. I imagine you wish to hear news of our quarry. Why not ask the seeress herself? That is why we have a chain of command, Derek, Vlad said, so please tell me how fare Carmen's rangers. Yes, Ariana told me that you have named them. It is a fine epithet. They have made it beyond Dark Lands and entered the halls of the Lost City. We must take steps to ensure that they do not fall into the hands of the Lich King. What interest would he have in them? He has many fell purposes, Vlad said. Foremost among them is the constant acquisition of fresh souls to add to his army. Andriel believes that they will pass close by his lair, but her divining cards portend that they will win through. Originally, I had intended for Lycurgus to take steps ensuring their safe passage, Derek, but his work is all too important now. I will go in his stead. Is there anything that I can do to help you? I will need to borrow the rod for a while. As you wish, Vlad, Derek said. I will bring it to your chambers when you call for it. How long does Andriel believe that it will take them to reach his lair? 2 days at least. They are very tired and hungry. Then bring me the rod at dawn, 2 days hence. Yes, Commander. And together, the two long-time comrades watched the orcs train below them, and for a while, it seemed like old times between them. The Forgotten Kings. A full day of rest in that deep and dark place renewed their vigor and hardened their resolve. The freshwater spring went a long way toward their recovery, but they desperately needed food to maintain and rebuild their lost strength. Make sure that every canteen and water skin is full, Kerr said. There is no telling how long it will be before we find water again. He didn't tell them that most springs like the one that they found were usually guarded by whatever creatures might be nearby. From here on, we travel together, but just in case, I'll assign buddy teams, army style. Tarek and Carmen, Dartin and Leander, Dow and Karina, and Kalor and I. Each of us is responsible for our partner's well-being. Before we move out, we will inspect each other's gear. Make sure anything loose is tied down tightly and securely. We're tired. That will make us lazy and it could get us killed. When you are finished, tell me you're good to go. Working diligently, each of them checked their partner and called out, "Good to go," when they were through. Once he was confident that they were ready, he led them on beside the light of Kalor's magical diamond. I know it sounds strange, Dartin said, but I feel as if we are being led towards some great purpose. I have felt that way since the beginning, Carmen said. We are pawns to the gods, Dow said, and I don't like it. Nor I, Karina said. Destiny or fate, Tarek said. Neither path is clear, but what is clear is that someone or something desperately wants the artifact. No doubt, the weapon possesses power beyond the scope of mortals. Even with the best intentions, such devices can only bring ruin upon us all. And we are the only ones capable of stopping them. Unless, Dartin said, the wizard has found us some new allies. I wouldn't count on Von Mathers, Leander said. I've had a bad feeling about him since the beginning. Once again, Carmen said, it seems that we won't solve this mystery unless we follow it through until the end. We already know that there is no turning back, Leander said. But there is a bright side. Such as? Kalor asked. Never before have adventurers seen such wonders as we have and survived. Our story will be one that we can tell and retell for the rest of our lives. If we live that long, Dow said. Either way, Leander said, I have no regrets. How can any of us know the wishes of the gods? Here and now, we have chosen to defend our families and our lands. How many did we save for each of the orcs that we slew? Every evil that we banish, every brigand that we slay, adds meaning to our humble lives. We have doubted ourselves since the beginning, Kalor said, but we are still here. I say that it is time to take some credit for ourselves. We have had some success, Tarek said, but we need Kerr's knowledge now more than ever. Without him, our chances of survival are slim. I am done being afraid, Karina said. I have never experienced such evil before, and I hope that we never have to again. Fear empowers evil, and I am done feeding it. It is time that we start thinking as if our victory is ours, not theirs. At first, Carmen said, the pressing walls of this underworld terrified me, but I have come to see it as yet another part of Tempest, and it is a world worth saving. In the last few days, Dow said, Kaylor and I have nearly unlocked all of Modrul's magical formula. With these new spells, we now have a great arsenal for combat. The teachings of my father are returning to me as well. One day, I may become the mage that he once saw in me. No doubt you will, Carmen said, and I pray that I have become the fighter that my father always wanted. Without Atran Daru, Leander said, I may never be able to finish my training. But I too have learned some of the lesser powers of the druids. Something tells me, Kerr said, that we will meet the sword again, but not in the way we would like. Lead on, Tarek said. We have already made enough noise to alert every creature that may live within a mile of this tunnel. They saved their thoughts after that. There would be time enough to talk later. Marching ahead for the better part of a day, they followed an immense tunnel that must have once been a major thoroughfare through Under-Earth. Many rooms and mining shafts branched off it at times, but all of them were either empty or filled with debris shaken loose by earthquakes. The tunnel seemed endless, but eventually end it did, by a towering archway, beyond which the darkness was so deep that only Carmen could see through it. I have heard of summoning such darkness, Dow said. It is said that the Dark Alfar can banish all light. I believe that this is the same type of magic. If they created it, Carmen said, they are long since gone. The room beyond it is a vast cathedral. The ceiling is at least 100 feet high. Mighty arches support the roof, and massive hinge stones lock them together. Along the east and west walls are 2 rows of statues. They are so lifelike and immense that they resemble the gods themselves. Braziers rest at intervals along each wall, but it has been ages since their coals have been lit. The room is fully the length of a Firmish hurling field, at least 137 running paces long. Carmen, Kerr said, what more do you see? The statues, Carmen said. They wear helms and armor just like mine. They are dressed in full battle attire, with weapons both mundane and unusual. The detail is so exquisite that they seem frozen in time. They are beautiful, neither human nor elves, but something in between. I can feel their power. Is there anything else? Yes. At the center of the room there is a pedestal, or sarcophagus, about waist high and twice again as long. Something lies on top of it. It looks like a body. It was then that a song began forming in her mind, very subtly at first, and she knew not where it came from. All that she knew was that it did not come from within her. It was a strange melody, a haunting rhapsody that spoke of war and ancient conquests untold. The sound was so magnificent that it compelled her to step forward into that high vaulted chamber and join her voice with those of that ghostly choir. Somehow the words found their way to her lips, and her song filled all their hearts with wonder. She strode into the darkness, with her voice cascading, lyrics rousing, echoing, filled with memories. The old braziers once again burst to life with bright golden flames, bathing the entire room in their glow. It seemed to the party that the statues sang along with Carmen, and that they were pleased, although neither sound nor movement ushered forth from their cold and grim facade. It was a magical moment for them all, and in short time the entire cathedral was revealed. The soft light stung their eyes, but was a welcome miracle, and after a long, painful moment, they were finally able to open their eyes and look upon the ancient hall. Dow and Karina were deeply affected by the sight. The statues summoned up deep racial memories from out of their ancient past. The presence they felt hit them with gut-wrenching impact, but the events that had so deeply affected their forefathers had faded through time, and neither of them knew if they should feel fear, awe, or anger toward them. These carvings are wondrous, Kerr said, the equal of any dwarven artisan. Perhaps your people carved them, Karina said, touching and examining the statues as Kerr was. I feel connected to them, Carmen said. Surely these statues depict Vanamoinen, Ilmatar, and all of the gods. Like gods they seem, Leander said, but there is no way to know for sure. If they are immortals, then where are they now? I know the face of Odin, Dartin said. These faces have a similar look to them. They may be Aesir, or even the Vanir. The Vanir were said to be conquerors of worlds, ruthless and powerful. What great magic they must have possessed, Kalor said, to have crafted such a hall. We should fear this place, Tarik said. It may be cursed. Nevertheless, the diamond has led us here, Leander said. We must leave no stone unturned. The sarcophagus, then, Dartin said, may hold some answers. Be careful, Tarik urged. There's no telling what traps have been laid. Carmen approached the coffin without fear, for she felt somehow that her gods were guiding her footsteps. Upon the sarcophagus, if indeed it was one, was a suit of armor, and of a craftsmanship comparable to what was worn by the statues around them. Beneath layers of dust, it was fashioned of an untarnished silver metal, of the same miraculous form as that which they discovered in Modrul's lair. The only difference was that this suit was whole and unrent. In fact, it lay perfect and unblemished, unaffected by moisture or time. Look there, Carmen, Tarik said, a helm, like your own, and on the breastplate, the symbol of a dragon flying into the sun. Vanir armor, Dal said, but this set is somewhat smaller than the first. I'd say that it is about Dartin's size, Kerr said. The last set nearly killed me. It was badly damaged, Dal said. This suit seems as whole as the day that it was made. My guess is that this one will not explode. Unless this suit is cursed like the last, Dartin said. Imagine what magic it might hold, Kalor said. Think of the power that Carmen's helm alone possesses. Leander carefully examined the armor, blowing away years of dust and laying his hands upon it. Once again, it seems that something has been left for us to find. This place must hold some hidden power to have survived the centuries, untouched by time or by grave robbers. Armor such as this is coveted by many, and no doubt it is priceless. My question is this: why has no one claimed it before us? Perhaps, Tarik said, some great curse protects this place. It is only a few days' journey from Darg lands, Kerr said. Surely they would have taken it for themselves. Maybe Carmen's helm allowed her to see this place where others could not. Or maybe this armor, Dartin said, and this place are beyond the reach of such black-hearted people. Some magical ward may prevent evil beings from coming here. There is no telling, Carmen said. I still hear their song in my head, and it isn't evil, merely powerful. Although I couldn't understand the words, Karina said, their meaning is unmistakable. It is a song of war. This quest is none other than a quest of war, Kerr said. We have faced our deaths many times already. We have an old saying that the only honor in war is life, to preserve it at any cost. All of them looked to Dartin then for an answer. Because of them all, only he and Leander might possibly fit into it, and such armor was not part of the way of druids. Very well, he said. If it doesn't kill me, it will be a boon to us. While he removed his armor, they cleaned off the new set for him and helped him to don it. What better armor than this to stand before the All-Father? What better armor than this to stand beside the All-Father with in the final battle? The new armor had an amazing flexibility to it, and it seemed to conform to his body like old clothing. No normal suit of mail would act thus, and putting it on was a marvel unto itself. Soon all that remained to complete it was the helm, which incorporated a visor similar to Carmen's own. Here goes, he said. Maybe everyone should stand back. Standing alone for a few moments, he held the winged helm before him, breathing deep to gather his courage. The armor was etched with artistic designs depicting dragons, men, women, and war. It was perfect beyond imagining. It was the armor of a conqueror, and fate had brought him to it. The moment of truth had come. And that's where we will end episode 21. Episode 22 will begin at page 271, the chapter entitled One-Eyed Jacks, and we'll see what happens to Dartin when he puts the Vanir helm on his head. Thank you and have a great night.